Welcome, everybody, to Retro Nerds Rewind podcast. I'll be your host today. My name is Jamal. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. That will help us out a lot. Let me introduce you to my fellow nerds. We will start with Aaron.
Hey.
Cody.
Hello there.
And Sean.
That's me!
So before we get started today, there are a few announcements. We'll start it off with Cody.
Yes, hello everyone. I really quick wanted to hop on here, kind of go over what's going on with today's episode. First of all, I want to apologize because our true second episode has been lost to the void. So we are going to continue forward with this episode as our true second episode, and we'll go into how that's going to work. But I did want to let everyone know that we are using a new recording system. We're trying to figure out how to properly upload, and we have all upgraded our sound, so hopefully we all sound clear and nice. But we do enjoy people's comments, everyone talking about how we can improve. Feel free to continue to leave comments on all our videos, as well as on the podcast at podbean.com. I'm going to go ahead and give it away to Aaron, who has some other announcements for us.
First up, I want to say if anyone can find that episode, I will give you cake. And no, not a lie. Anyways, this episode is brought to you by Drawn to Comics. Drawn to Comics in downtown Glendale, Arizona. They are one of the premier comic book stores. They also have toys and other collectibles. And my screen just crashed. Okay, cool, I'm back. Love computers. They work so wonderfully. So yeah, Drawn to Comics, they're at 5801 West Glendale Avenue, basically 59th Avenue in Glendale, right across from the square where the Glendale Public Library is. They're a great shop over there. Keep listening. At the end of the podcast here, I'll have the discount code to give out for this week's discount. This week's one is for a $10 purchase, gets you an entry into the monthly drawing. The monthly drawing is normally for a $50 gift card to Drawn to Comics. So keep listening so you can get that code and go in there and make that purchase. Sean, didn't you have something to add here?
I sure did. So do you like RPGs and board games like I do? Well, if you do, I've got great news for you. There is a convention coming up called Crit Hit 6 Spicy Weather on July 6th and 7th, held at the DoubleTree by Hilton Phoenix in Mesa. We are going to be there on July 6th. So come and see us as we do a live recording of our podcast, as well as host a couple of games. So come down, play some games with us. Full weekend badges are still available at crithitaz.com. Don't worry, that website will be added to the description of this video. So come out and see us. Let's play some games.
And last but not least, our other sponsor is Peoria Championship Martial Arts. They are the school that actually myself and my daughter and my son all practice our karate at. They teach the Chuck Norris, Chuck Kundo style there, as well as do Krav Maga, including adult Krav Maga classes for self-defense and other different self-defenses, including they have they do the occasional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seminar when they bring someone out for that. Right now, it is $49 for your first 4 weeks. It includes your gi and a free trial lesson where you actually get to sit down, and have a lesson with the owner, Mr. Munding himself. So please give them a call to set up your appointment with them. They are out of 91st Avenue in Peoria, Arizona. And I'll have that phone number because I forgot to pull it up in just 1 second here. Champ. I know. I know.
Quality content.
First episodes, here we go.
So their phone number is 623-486-0970. Again, 623-486-0970. So give them a call, set up that appointment, and get yourself some classes. Back to you, Jamal.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about the Spider-Man animated series, which started in 1994. So again, the 90s, which was chosen by Aaron.
That's
so
me.
Aaron, I'm going to pass it to you so you can explain what this show means to you and why you selected it.
Well, thank you very much. When the series came out, I had just turned 10 years old. I was already a big comic book fan. Spider-Man was one of my favorite characters out there. It always just resonated very well with me. Wore had glasses, very nerdy, tall, lanky. Not, I was a little bit athletic, but not that much. So the idea of someone who else was into science that liked all that kind of stuff, getting powers and being able to be this hero, have a great life. Even though it wasn't always such a great life, it just really resonated with me. It hit me very hard. And just the story elements that went along with it. I mean, that series played out just like a comic book. It had its one-offs. It had its long continual stories. It had its one-offs that mixed with those stories. I mean, it was great. Even had a lot of my favorite villains in it. Venom, Doc Ock, Carnage. Had to tone down Carnage, but that's okay.
Yep.
TV show. Censors. So, but yeah, and I mean, of course, and we'll get to it, theme song. So, but yeah, hit all the right notes.
Nice. And Cody?
Well, this was actually my first time actually watching it. I don't think I ever watched it because I wasn't officially born yet, depending on what month it came out.
No, you were. You were just very.
I was
You were
infantile.
2 months.
Cody's the baby of the group. He always likes to bring it up.
But to be fair, though, this was seriously my very first time watching this. I've only seen like pictures from the show. I mean, obviously memes from the show and stuff like that. But for a Spider-Man cartoon, I can see exactly where the hype comes from. I was even telling Jay as we were watching it, because I've always had a crush on Spider-Man since the dawn of time. And this rekindled my crush of Spider-Man. So let's just add that in.
How dare you?
But
Well, I know who he's thinking about tonight. Sean.
Yeah, let's segue to me from that one. So as I mentioned in before previous episodes, Saturday morning cartoons was my jam. Waking up as early as possible, sitting on the floor with a bowl of cereal, and Spider-Man was a linchpin in that Saturday morning cartoon block. I tried to think of what the intro was before I started rewatching the episode, and it suddenly, like, clicking play on Disney Plus, everything hit me like a wave of nostalgia. And it was it was Spider-Man with that guitar riff.
Yeah.
And I realized that the original intro that they had for the Spider-Man I can't do it because copyright, but the original intros I'd actually never heard until the movie years later. But yeah, that was, I don't know, it definitely hit me in the nostalgias.
So if you guys remember last week's episode when we were talking about Power Rangers intro, those 90s intro theme songs, X-Men, Spider-Man, these are all top tier 3, top 5, or top 5. So Spider-Man is in there. like you were saying, opens with that guitar riff. I mean, I can't do it because I'm not gonna have our video
Copyright.
get copyrighted.
Yeah.
Again.
But it did premiere in November, so November 19th, 1994. And then I just have a couple of stuff here, Aaron, if you don't mind. And then the writer, I think, that you were talking about before we started the show, between you and I, who was also the producer, was John Simper Jr. And like you were saying, he wrote it kind of like a comic book, and they didn't want it going that way, so probably rights and stuff.
Yeah, he wrote 60 episodes straight before there was even anything in production for it. He was brought on. He wasn't even the original director they had for it, but he was the right choice. He fought very hard to make it a good show, whereas Avery Arid, he basically wanted it to be an 80s toy commercial, like the cartoons of the 80s, where they were just basically toy commercials going through there. That's all he wanted. And Semper Jr., he was like, I'll make a good show that'll sell a lot more toys. And it did. The only reason why the show got canceled was because the studio that was making it, which was Marvel Studios, was only working partly with Saban, whereas Saban wanted to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so Saban and Avery Arid got to Simper to start complaining about certain things to the network, which the network eventually just gave up and said, screw you, you're done. And then Saban went in and did Spider-Man Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
Basically came out the next year after it ended.
Yeah.
So it was, they did that, and which shot them in the foot, because that show was nowhere nearly as good, and it finished the season, and that was it. Left it on a cliffhanger. So it was, I'm sure Cody probably didn't watch it. Jamal or Sean, did you guys watch that? Because
Spider-Man Unlimited?
Yeah.
Nope. I thought the last episode of Spider-Man, I remember very, very clearly, I thought it was great. I know we're not covering that episode today, but that was probably one of my favorites. I had no idea at the time that it was like the series finale, but now knowing that it was, it went out on a high note for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now hopefully
series finale was great.
Yep. And now hopefully, since we got X-Men 97, hopefully we can get Spider-Man
98.
Yes. Well, especially with how the X-Men ended, and with all the cameos and stuff like that, we might get a cameo, which would be amazing.
The animation they used for Peter and Mary Jane in that cameo for it was almost to the T.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to the T. So they're like, hey, we could, and I'm like, please. But I don't
Such
know.
a tease.
I don't know if they're going to, because there's talks of canceling X-Men 97 now, even though it's signed for 3 seasons.
Because last I heard was it made Godzilla ratings.
No, it made views, but it has made no impact in new subscribers, and that's all they care about is new subscribers. Used to be toys, and then it became ratings in toys. Then now it's all about, it was when services were starting, it was views. Now it's about new subscribers. The problem is everybody basically has a streaming service that they prefer to watch on, and there's tons of ways to counterbalance them now.
Yeah.
So it's
I was going to say that's not even
frustrating.
Their fault. Like, Disney keeps changing the format on that platform. Now it's Hulu Plus, Disney Plus, and they're trying to integrate it just like, HBO Max and Discovery. It's like, come on, we got to get like one thing going here, and then you guys are complaining about streaming, but that's another topic.
I definitely think they need to go back to more the views, because the views is where it's at. Rather than
the hard part is that's your current subscriber base. Is that making you money?
Yeah.
True.
buy my subscription so you can watch my show. Yep.
I think if they want to fix it a better way is to have certain shows be only on a certain tier for the first so many months, and
Right.
then allow it to the ad view program. Once have it for the commercial free people who pay that extra couple bucks a month, and then a few months later have it on your one that has the ads, so that you're now collecting ad revenue on top of it.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's what they were trying to do with their movies, though. And unfortunately, it didn't really pan out.
Give exclusives. Hey, if you get this tier, we'll give you cast interviews or stuff like that.
Yeah, bonus features would be great addition to the non-commercial tier. And Cody, you're thinking of when they were trying to do it because they weren't going to theaters, so they were trying to sell it for $20 on there for so many months. And they did that.
But they only did certain movies, which was dumb. And then they immediately put like the actually good movies that they wanted straight to their streaming service.
Yeah, the only one that I did purchase one movie on that, and the only one I did that was the live action remake of Mulan. Just because I knew it was going to be a big war action movie, and I really wanted to see it.
Right.
So, all right. So, what would you like to talk about next, Jamal?
So let's kick it back to you to give us how this show kicks off, how it starts, who, what, when, where. Yep, dig in.
All right, let's sit back and rewind. So, as we said, we're doing Spider-Man, the animated series, episode 1, Night of the Lizard. First thing that pops up, intro, theme song, that huge guitar riff, hear it going running through, catch that little bit of the original theme song mixed in with it that you've got to pay attention to, or it's just going to go past you. Theme song was actually written by Joe Perry, who was the lead guitarist and occasional vocalist from Aerosmith.
Yes.
So, knowing that, which I didn't know until doing this and doing a little research on it, I just thought it was just another studio guy, because Saban had done all these, had Ron Weiserman, had all these, studio guys been doing theme songs since the mid '80s, but which makes that little Easter egg of when he gets the alien symbiote suit and he turns into the guitarist from Aerosmith. I just that now just makes me crack up laughing thinking about it. So we get that awesome theme song. I automatically started headbanging when I was hearing it. I'm just like going and thinking, listening, enjoying it. It's like hits that note for me. You guys had talked a little bit about it earlier. Was there anything else did anything happen when you started hearing it?
When I started hearing it, no. Because what I accidentally did was I wanted to pause it to make a note. And unfortunately, the skip intro button was right there. And
you can rewind?
So I said, yeah, you're damn right. I hit rewind on that. I went all the way back to the winning, and it was like, no, thank you, Netflix. Hard no. And watched it again because I had to get that music in my head.
As someone that has saw it for the first time, it was like what Jamal said earlier with the whole. I can see how it's an iconic '90s intro, and it is up there with the X-Men theme. Personally, as someone who is like an avid like X-Men cartoon fan, and that absolutely loves that intro. This one's in my top 5 as well, for sure. Also seeing, because I've read more of the Spider-Man comics than I did watch the cartoons. So seeing like Doc Ock and Venom and all of the iconic villains in the intro and saying, oh, okay, we're like really going hands-on into this Spider-Man cartoon.
Let's talk about those 3D drawings in the intro.
Oh yeah.
Rad.
I mean, how many times did you see that beforehand? Have you
None.
Do you remember any? No? Sean, do you remember any? You watch a lot of cartoons too?
I don't remember any 3D intros around that time.
The only one that pops in my brain is Beast Wars, and
Yes,
I don't remember
that's right.
what year that came out. I'd have to look that up, but I don't think it was 94. I think that came out like 95, 96.
Right.
So it would have been afterwards.
About the same time. I mean, that time frame is a little bit, technology is about the same around there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a live action show rather than a cartoon, isn't it? No, I'm thinking
That's the movie. No.
That's the movie.
No, it was a fully 3D computer generated cartoon. Beast Wars was. It was the first Transformers one like it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Beast Machines, not so much. Beast Wars, yes.
I was thinking I have Battleborgs in my head and not Beast Wars.
Yeah, it's
a completely different show.
Same thing.
Completely.
It's the same. They're
All right. So we go from the theme song into the first little scene here. We see Spidey up on it, talking a little bit about how great it is and being up in New York, and then the camera starts to pan down. Going through to the city streets, all the way down to the sewer. Come up upon two sewer city workers talking, just having a little conversation. One of them is his first day. And obviously one guy is, he's a former TV executive, which leads me to believe that somewhere along the way there was some bad blood already happening, and they just had to say they had a little right in there. I couldn't find any evidence online about that, but I mean, come on, who puts a TV executive in there?
Because that was my question when watching this the first time. Is like, how far from grace did this dude fall that he went from a TV executive to being like working in the sewers with his hands getting dirty? Like you can't find another like job in TV somewhere. You gotta go deal with whatever it is you're dealing with down there.
Yep.
Well, and then the line that the guy that's asking him about his past job and stuff, like he's like, "Oh well, you're better off being down here.
You're better off being down here.
It's warm during the winter and it's cold during the summer." I'm like, no way in hell. There's no way.
No, the New York sewers, that's got to be humid as all get out down there in
Oh
the summer.
God, no.
I don't even want to know for sure.
See that big floater over there? Yeah.
Whatever you'll find down there, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, so then they go and they start talking about what might be down there. He's like, doesn't know. Then all of a sudden the lizard starts to growl and come out. They of course scream, start to run away. Lizard grabs the bigger slow guy, which is true to real life. The skinny athletic guy always leaves his tubby friend behind. It's just it's just the sacrificial lamb. Sorry.
He tried to help him. He was just very dumb about it because he just grabbed the glove and not the hand.
True. So then the TV exec's up above, gets into the van, starts driving away, drives like a maniac. Get to see the first 3D images in the actual show. So it's not just something that's going to be a part of the intro. We know it's not going to be a part of the show sporadically throughout it. Nice little go back and forth between the 2D, 3D animation there. Spidey makes a nice little quip. First one, gotta have it. So it wouldn't be Spidey without the quips, right?
Right.
Jumps on top of the van, tries to take control, ends up going in the water. Because of course there's water right by, right?
Yeah.
It's an island.
Yep.
Logical.
Yep.
He taught you how to drive, buddy.
Pulls him out before he hits the water, gets him up on there. Guy tells him, don't let the police blame me for this, dude. This is not on me. This is purely on you, basically. And the guy keeps babbling on about the eyes. I can't get the eyes, the red eyes, the red eyes.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Yeah. This episode does move really fast. We got a lot of setup in here. The next thing we're going to seeing, we're inside the Daily Bugle. And like I said, it's Spider-Man, and it's 60s era Stan Lee, which means there's a lot of alliteration with these characters' names. You can tell who's not an original character and who, from the original Spider-Man series, and who's an original character for the show, based upon the names. It really does plan out there for it. So the first one up we see is Robbie Robertson talking to Peter Parker about a giant lizard sighting in the sewers. And he's like, oh, no, that can't be true. And then all of a sudden, Eddie Brock comes out. And he's been given the chance to get the story from J. Jonah Jameson.
Wow.
Brock be Brockin'.
Yep.
So if we can just pause there for a second, because this
Sure.
is for Eddie Brock.
Yes.
I have never seen a character that looks more like a Brock. He puts the bro in Brock. Now, I don't know if that's because this is from my early age, this is the image that I associated with douchebags, but or if it's a stereotype of what the dude bros kind of look like at that time. But I just remember looking at him and it's like, yep, Brock, that fits.
He has the face that I could punch.
A face that only a mother could punch.
Mhm.
So the question is, though, does he have a soul? Because he's got red hair. So
Good
It's
point.
brunette. It's just very light brunette.
sure,
Auburn.
that kind of bro to a T. Because later on, you see he's got workout equipment in his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
He's not able to go to the gym anymore at one point. His membership is canceled from lack of payments. Spoiler alert for stuff that's going on later in the series. But like Jamal said in our first episode, if you haven't seen this series by now, too bad.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that's me. So
Sorry, bub. Getting the short end of the stick here.
So, all right.
I'm
So
playing
from
my
there,
tiny violin.
yeah, has been given the story from Jonah, and Peter again is like, yeah, I don't buy this. It's got to be a hoax. People always come up with stuff. Brock starts reading a list of scientists he's going to go talk to, and of course, the first one he mentions is Dr. Kurt Connors. And Peter's like, hey, I know him. He's my professor. I work with him. I already know this guy. Let me talk to him, basically. Jonah's going, yeah. Peter's point of contact. Brock tries to throw a little fit about it. Too bad. Jonah's the editor. No qualm there. Peter again goes, yeah, it's still probably a hoax, but Jonah then, says, hey, whoever gets a picture for my evening post gets $1,000 bonus. Now think about that. 1994. $1,000 bonus.
Yeah, I was thinking about
Cha-ching.
that. That's not a bad bonus today either. And think about 1994. That had to be enough to pay your bills.
And then some.
Pause.
Well, speaking of paying the bills, Peter starts thinking about all the different things he could actually buy for $1,000. He could put a down payment on a motorcycle,
Or a car.
or a car. And I'm thinking, you swing webs. Why are you wanting a motorcycle or a car? You live in New York. Sure, okay, a motorcycle in New York, sure. But you don't need to do that. Just get up there, swing around. It's so much faster. You got no traffic. You don't have to worry about getting hit by the bicycle people. You don't have to worry about running into any pizza delivery guys. I mean, come on.
But then we wouldn't get the Spidey bike.
Yeah, I'm fine without that.
All right.
The Spidey Zord from the other show, I would love that. But the Spidey bike, I'm good without. All right, so then the montage ends of this thought process and moving over from the Bugle over to his house in Queens. And we see Aunt May kind of looking at something, and it's a past due bill. It's got a whole lot of dollars on it. I paused it. There's actual written address in Queens, New York there, as well as descriptions of things that she's past due on. And one of them's like a $25,000 bill, and the other one was like an $800 and a $500. But then at the very bottom, of course, it says the total amount to pay up to get caught up for now, $1,000 even. Now, if that's not foreshadowing, I don't know what is.
That's convenient.
Extremely. Or still thinking about what he could do with all that cash. Gives Aunt May a, peck on the cheek while she tries to hide the past due bill and a book that's on the very top of everything. And he's like, why is she always trying to hide things from me? She walks into the kitchen to go make dinner. And he looks at the bill, sees that, and you start to see how selfless Peter really is, thinking about how could I be thinking about what I'm doing with this money when she really needs it. She's taken care of me my whole life. She obviously, we never know what Aunt May does for money. That's never brought up. We assume there's some kind of retirement, some kind of pension maybe from Uncle Ben. But that never goes into it. So he really feels like he really owes her, and he wants to get that to be able to help put things through on there. So next thing you know, like I said, this episode moves fast. We're back in Spidey mode. He's going down to the sewer, right where those workers were. He goes down there, finds footprints, and is like, oh, holy crap, this might actually be real. Takes a photo.
The greatest quip is said at this scene, and I wrote it down because I loved it so much. He's going in there and he's like, this is all a myth. This is all a myth. And he sees the footprint and he says, looks like I was myth taken.
Myth taken.
Myth taken.
Myth taken. And I thought that got me to laugh out loud. That was fantastic.
I was myth taken.
I was myth taken.
Imagine that in a Michael Jackson voice. Do it, Jamal.
I was myth taken.
After he takes that photo, we flash and we see him walking up to ESU, college that he goes to, walking up to the science building, runs into one of his colleagues, one of his fellow students there, Deborah Whitman. Like I said,
That
new to
name.
that name tells you right there, she's new for the show.
She's new. She's also the sister that he never wanted.
Oh, for sure.
So we know where he stands at how he looks at her, for sure.
And we kind of get a feel for how she looks at him in the beginning there. They're kind of punching jabs back and forth. And she truly, as it goes on, she steals the photo from him, looks at it, and is like, hey, you know what? I see something you don't, idiot. This guy walks on two legs. Look at those. Look at that. He's got the pressure on the back. He's walking on two legs like a human. He's like, oh, I didn't notice that.
Did you notice really quick? I'm so sorry.
No.
He had the photo in a plastic bag while in the rain, first of all.
Right.
She took it out of the plastic bag, still in the rain.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta love little inconsistencies there.
I was like, wait a minute, now it's all soggy. There goes his photo now.
Yeah, he could duplicate it. He's got a lab inside his closet at his house there.
True.
So they start walking down toward the office. They get their lab coats on. Then all of a sudden, we get our very first Spidey sense.
Ah, the Peter tingle.
Yeah, that's
It's
the
a
worst name
tingling.
for it ever. I swear, it's like as an adult, that makes my brain go somewhere completely different. Then it's like he gets the Peter tingle when he's around Deborah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So then we go and we notice they start to hear that there's danger in the office there. Brock's running around the school and hiding. The lizard is inside the office. We see him there. It's really dark. He goes. Deborah starts to call out for Dr. Connors, and the lizard's Dr. Connors' voice is a little gravelly. Comes out and says, "Stay away," type deal. Go through there. You see the lizard taking a device. We don't know what device it is unless you've seen it before. So he's grabbing a device. He's got it all wrapped up very, very carefully, neatly, with some nice tape on it. Scares Deborah, kind of knocks her back. What was that?
Technically, it's body bag shaped.
That's what I thought. I remember the first time watching it, seeing that, and it's like,
well,
how
and
do
that's
they not
what
think that this looks like the lizard has Dr. Connors in his hands?
and that's
like,
what
in
I
the body
think
bag.
what Peter thinks too,
Yes.
because that's what essentially moves the scene forward.
Right.
As
Deborah
well.
thinks and Peter both think that he's
He
being
bagged him.
kidnapped.
He's got Dr. Connors.
Right. So he knocks Deb back. Peter tries to jump up to try to stop him, starts to pull up the shirt and to show the Spider-Man uniform underneath it. Deborah calls out to him, "Peter, don't go. And we get our first Peter again. Oh yeah, I got to keep my identity secret. She's going to see me pull back and talk to her, even though she should have noticed that how he was sitting.
Yeah, he
Honest.
jumped on the perch
Yes.
and
Right on the
stuff
ledge.
like,
First
What
of
was-
all,
what was your plan there, Peter? What was your plan? You're ready to strip down to your Spider-Man underoos while perching on the windowsill in plain view, and like, oh wait, I have a secret identity.
Yeah.
That's right.
to be fair, this is the same lady that is wearing glasses, is trying to turn the lights on, and can't see the giant lizard silhouette in the background and has to get this close to him in order to finally realize, oh crap, that's not the professor.
Right.
So I believe that she did not see him because she is legally blind and needs a new prescription.
Then where does it go?
So it goes from there to a flashback scene where you see Dr. Connors and Peter working together, doing an experiment on a mouse. You see him do a little injection. You don't know what's going into the mouse yet. You don't know why he's doing it, but you see this mouse and you notice there's something a little off by the mouse. The mouse is missing a limb. So as it moves forward, you see this machine come down, start spraying these rays over it, this rainbow-looking rays going on there, only to find out that the experiment was to see if they could grow a new limb, which is successful. The mouse grows a new limb just moments later after they're talking. You find out that they put lizard DNA into him and used the device, which is called a neogenic recombinator. Yes, I said it correctly.
Don't worry about that, kids.
Yeah.
And went through. The experiment was correct. You see Dr. Connors talking about how this could be revolutionary for mankind, help people, people amputees from wars, which he, says specifically. And of course, the camera pans over to his at that moment, and his arm, he'd start to go touch it, feel that
Right.
over there to lead you to believe he was in the military. He lost his limb. And it would be due to combat, or some type of explosive somewhere along the way. even though I would think that someone of his intelligence probably wouldn't have been put on the front lines. He would have been, like R&D,
Right.
trying to develop new weapons. That's just what I think about, someone with his genius level of intelligence. I don't see the military throwing him out there. So who knows how it really got lost, but they try to really make it seem like it was from him being in a battle. So, so we move forward, kind of a little foreshadowing onto that because we don't know anything else yet.
Yeah. That's his MO, is to try to help people.
Help people and himself.
Mm-hmm.
And himself. He really wants that arm back.
Yeah.
So the next thing, we move forward again. We're moving toward, we see going to this house, which we end up finding out the lizard is outside of it. And then we hear a woman inside. We see a woman and a child, and Spidey is inside, scaring the child, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, he's just slipped in some house. Someone broke into that house and was crawling on the ceilings, and then just went down to talk to him. It's like, geez, dude, come on, you could have knocked.
There is a front door.
There's a front door. There's a back door. There's, we don't want to talk about all our doors, but so we go from there. He starts talking to. We find out it's Kurt Connors' house. Talks to his wife.
Yep.
We see Eddie Brock on the outside over there getting scared by the lizard. Peter hears it. His wife hears it.
Trips on the grass, by the way.
I think
Eddie
it was
Brock,
a root, technically.
There was nothing on the grass.
There was nothing there.
It was just
grass.
Slightly above. It was covered by the grass.
They didn't even draw in.
He hadn't mowed it in a while.
Bump or anything.
I mean, come on.
Exactly.
He's been a lizard for a week. He can't push the mower. I mean, come on. We go from there.
HOA is really hounding him about it.
He was hiding in the bushes trying to eavesdrop on them and what they were saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we go from there. Spy starts to try to fight him off, taking a picture and dropping his camera. Billy says, "No, Daddy, stop," which is, your confirmation that this giant lizard in a scientist, jacket is Dr. Connors.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. This is Editor Cody here. I just wanted to quickly let you all know we had some technical difficulties with Aaron's audio and his video dropping in the middle of the episode. I'm just going to continue where he left off. So we found out that Dr. Connors is the lizard man. Spider-Man starts a scuffle with him, and during the scuffle, Eddie Brock decides to run away, in which Spider-Man doesn't want the news of Dr. Connors being the lizard man to go out, so he catches Eddie, hangs him by a light post, and silences him with his own webs. While that is happening, Dr. Connors kidnaps his own wife and heads to the sewers. We then pan to Spider-Man in the sewers, talking to himself about how he wishes that he could take jobs that aren't in the sewers, and that the Avengers, the Defenders, as well as the Fantastic Four don't normally do anything in the sewers except maybe the Hulk. And that's about all that you've missed. And we'll continue from where we left off. Bye, everyone.
So he goes through, does the quips, keeps going around. He eventually gets close enough to where he hears the wife. Starts to feel guilty about it because he did help, Connors do that.
Right.
If it wasn't for him helping with that experiment, he feels that, it never would have gotten that way. That's kind of like, yes and no. You can feel guilty about it, but the truth of the matter is, if it wasn't you, it'd have been another intern there working with him.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah,
one that
that's true.
not had the same, it might not have had the same result the first time around. It could have taken another couple times, but it would have gotten there eventually. So it's okay. Feel a little guilt, but this isn't something you really should feel responsible for. It's really not your fault.
Right.
So from there, he slides down, finds the missing subway worker, pulls him free,
pulls him out.
As he falls down, where's his spidey sense then?
But it wasn't danger.
Well, there isn't any danger yet.
Okay.
So it's not something to keep him from getting hurt. It's just something to keep him from actual like life-threatening danger.
Okay, so falling down a unknown tube into the unknown in a sewer, unknown where it's going. I'm saying unknown a lot. That's not dangerous enough to to fall to your death is not dangerous enough to trigger the Peter tingle.
He's in his natural habitat. He's a spider in the sewer.
I think it's more so if there were spikes at the bottom, he would have the tingle.
It would have went off, yeah. The tingle would have went off.
Tingle.
So then the worker tells him that he couldn't help him finish his plan. He needed the worker's help. He needed his hands because his hands could actually do the work needed, not the lizard's hands. Yep. Which, if you notice, the lizard does have a thumb.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
It's too big. They're too big.
Right.
They're too big.
It's just the fingers are just too big. So sentence I've never heard before.
Oh my.
So we go. He tells him that, and then you hear the lizard telling his wife his plan, and her saying that she just wants him back. He doesn't need to be doing this. Pleads for him not to go through with the plan. He starts bringing up Billy. Do you want Billy to be this way? Do you want him? And you can see the lizard brain starting to pull back a little bit, and starts talking, my son, Billy. Gets him distracted enough for Spidey to come down and give him a nice little kick.
Yeah.
Then Connor's wife goes over to the Recombinator, picks it up, ends up getting knocked down. Lizard sees it, starts to go full lizard, goes crazy, starts going after Spidey. Spidey's actually already gone over to the Neogenic Recombinator, picks it up, starts messing with the settings, gets knocked into the water. Little underwater fight scene there. If only they had scuba suits or something to actually breathe for like the time they were down there, it would have been nice.
Technically, a human can survive underwater for 10 minutes.
Yeah, without air. I mean, unless he can hold his breath for that long, he's going to start drowning and needing to get up.
Wearing
especially when he's getting punched in the face and the stomach, kicked, hit with the tail. So they keep fighting. He messed with the settings a little bit, finally turns it on. You see this big light show that actually, for some reason, also launches water straight up into the air, like an explosion happened. I'm like, oh, okay, we need something for the effects here. Okay. Right. And Spidey swims up with Connors, brings him up onto the ground in the sewer, and Connors is back as human.
Right.
His human form.
And Spider-Man has no ill effects from being hit with that same blast.
Because it's a human beam, not a lizard beam.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking all right, so would he still have his spider powers if he's removed the animal elements out of him, like the lizard has removed the animal elements out of him?
True. So we don't talk about that. That's G14 classified.
Do you want to go into spoilers with this, Sean, or do you want to just kind of move forward here? I mean, because I'm good going either way. Cody hasn't seen that far yet, because I mean, that's a little ways down. But the one thing I will say is how they do the spider bite in this series is, so originally it was through a Dr. Otto Octavius experiment in the comics that the spider was hit with radiation, went through.
Right.
Peter was there, got bit by it. In the movies, it was,
The field trip.
one of them was manipulated when they were at the field trip. In this series, it was very similar to the original comics, but it wasn't Doc Ock. It was another science experiment being done at the lab at ESU with the neogenic recombulator that radiated the spider that it was not noticed that eventually did bite Peter. So, yes, considering it was that device originally that gave him his powers, you'd think there might be. But at this moment, he's just tired from the fight. It's just nothing's happened yet. But you have to watch on to see see what really does happen.
And that's supposed to be 9 here.
Part of the fun here, So
supposed to be 9 years old, not thinking too much.
Hey, look, I'm 42 years old. I wasn't thinking that much when I was watching it.
See? And then this kind of goes into the ending, right?
Yes, we kind of go into the first part of the ending there. It leaves there and goes right to Brock and J. Jonah Jameson pulling up in a cop car to Dr. Connor's house. And Brock is telling Jonah, look, no, Connors is a lizard. Connors is a lizard. I'll eat this morning's post if he's not the lizard. And for starters, I'm thinking, first of all, if you think a guy is a supervillain or is a genetic mutate, why is he going to be at home?
Yeah.
When he wasn't at home the first time you were there, he was perching on the outside just like you.
Or you knew where he was going to in the sewers as well.
Right. Why not try and do stuff there?
Right.
All right. Anyways. So they go, ring the doorbell. Dr. Connors opens the door with his wife next to him and Billy in his good arm. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I'm so glad we had the whole family have to be there for that moment. It couldn't just been Connors doing it. But it was great because Jonah just looks over at him, holds the paper and says, do you want it cooked or raw?
Raw.
And next we jump right over to Peter and Aunt May, her holding all this cash, her saying, Peter, where did you get all this money? Where did it come from? And he's like, oh, it came from me selling a photo to the Daily Bugle, for doing this. And she's like, this lizard one? You were in the sewer? I can't believe it. You shouldn't follow that menace Spider-Man around. Think of all of those germs on you. And I'm like, that's just like a grandma.
Yeah.
I mean, it's his aunt, but it's like a mom-grandma relationship right there. And she's like, nope, you got to eat. You need something hot. You've been in a cold sewer all night long to get these photos out there. And you're going to get sick.
Here was my takeaway from that one. She's looking at the paper and seeing that he's taking pictures of this big superhuman battle between Spider-Man and the lizard. And her first concern was germs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well,
Peter Parker,
she did say that
he's an adult.
Snuck in there. And so I think she understands that he's responsible enough to not get caught.
So,
okay, but like as the cement blocks are flying around because the lizard's smacking the walls for reasons, if he was an innocent bystander, like he could have easily got hit by debris. He could have hit Spider-Man could have been thrown into him. The lizard could have been thrown into him. He would have been in much more danger in this fight as getting hit and killed or hurt by the fight than the germs that he's going to pick up because he's in the sewer. But okay.
Yeah, I get that.
And is that how the episode ends, Aaron?
Nope. We have one last snippet where we go back to Spidey out in the city of New York, up high, going basically, I love New York. And then we get the credits. We get the credits where we start headbanging again.
And scene.
Yes.
Well,
Oh,
good
so yeah,
times,
so
good times.
Really
yeah. So what
quick,
do you guys think about that?
I just had to mention one major thing that I noticed throughout the whole thing too, and it didn't really occur to me until the very end of what Aunt May said. I heard what Dr. Connor's wife said, and when Peter was mentioning it to the the new worker for the subway that he saved, talking about the police and stuff like that. No one likes Spider-Man at this
Yeah, he's a
time.
vigilante.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what I noticed immediately. I was like, oh, so I didn't know if there's another cartoon that's associated with this.
No, so remember like the movie
Nope.
that we just watched, the last Spider-Man with Tom Holland?
Mm-hmm.
It ends with him kind of putting on the same suit, and nobody knows who he is. He's basically like gonna be picking that up, like gonna be a vigilante, so to speak. No one's
Well,
gonna
and
know that he's
that's
Spider-Man.
kind of what I was wondering throughout this cartoon. I was like, oh, so we know that there's the Fantastic Four, there's the Defenders, there's um, the Avengers as well. So
And X-Men.
and the
Yeah.
X-Men. So there's something must have happened to where it caused New York City to be scared of
It's J.
Jonah
Jonah
vigilantes
James.
still.
Yeah, it's just
J. Jonah
Jonah.
Jameson does not like vigilantes.
Mhm.
And that is explained later in the series as to why he does not like masked people.
Yeah,
You do get that explanation later, but it is purely PR that has made Spider-Man into being a hated person.
right.
The people that he saves and the people, a lot of people in Queens, a lot of people around New York do like him. And you'll see that later on as well. But it is the pure PR of the Daily Bugle and J. Jonah Jameson on his tirade of anti-Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Damn
Even
it,
after
TMZ.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, even after he saves New York multiple times over, it's still Jonah's anti-Spidey. No matter how many times he saves Jonah's life, for crying out loud,
Still, yeah.
Mhm.
still anti-Spidey. And it's purely because he wears a mask.
Yeah.
If Spidey took it off, then it would be a different story. But Spider-Man being a guy in college at this point, that lives with his aunt with no money, doesn't have the security of the Baxter Building, doesn't have the finances of Professor X, doesn't have Tony Stark footing the bill for things.
Yeah.
Or
Basically
is
a
he-
regular guy.
He can't
Yeah.
do that.
Mm-hmm.
He's your regular guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Friendly
Well-
neighborhood.
Friendly neighborhood.
Hopefully you guys got a synopsis of the first episode of Spider-Man the Animated Series. It is available on Disney Plus if you have a subscription. And you can also get it on Amazon Prime or whichever app.
It's on Netflix
you
as well.
choose. Yeah.
I
And,
don't think it's on Netflix. I think it's only on Disney Plus right now.
That's
It
what
might
I
be
thought.
on Prime to purchase,
Prime.
but I don't think it's on Netflix.
So hopefully you guys can check that out. Thank you, Aaron, for giving us that play-by-play of the scenes. Did anybody have anything to add?
I have one last thing that I would like to say. We'll see you next time as we hit rewind.
Yes, sir.
Well, real quick, we do got to give that discount code
Oh,
out
yeah.
for the $10 purchase at Drawn to Comics to get you that entry into the monthly drawing. The code for that is RNR Pod. Again, it's R, the letters R and R with the word pod at the end. Tell that to the guys as you make your purchase. They'll throw that in there and get you added into the monthly drawing.
And that's Drawn to Comics in Glendale. And what was the
Glendale,
street?
Arizona. Yep, 59th Avenue and Glendale.
And
downtown
is there
Glendale.
a phone number?
Yes, the phone number is 623-487-9090. Again, 623-487-9090. 90.
Perfect. You guys
We'll
can
make
go
sure
out
that is
there and
added to the description box as well
Yes.
as the synopsis on Podbean or YouTube.
Yep. And then again, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe and hit that bell. And then I was going to mention, check out Drawn to Comics, open a box, go down there, buy your comics. Make sure you hit up that karate school that Aaron mentioned. And then
Peoria
also,
Championship Martial Arts.
yes. And also Crit Hit, which is in July next month. Sean, what are the dates
6th
again?
and 7th. 6th
Yep.
and 7th.
And it, like he said, it's going to be spicy.
Spicy weather.
Spicy weather.
So thank you guys for tuning in. This is our second episode because the other one got lost. So hopefully you guys are enjoying. Things will get better, and we hope you tune in for next time.
And
Sean,
now
throw us out.
we will see you next time as we hit rewind.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.